We're on Taharot, Perek Tet, Mishnah Gimel, third Mishnah, in the ninth chapter, Masechet Taharot. We're talking about a Kaveret. Remember, Kaveret we said was a beehive. And in the first Mishnah, we talk about when this beehive was half in the house and half outside the house. Okay, B'toch habayit, petach upia lachutz. It's in the house, but its mouth is on the outside. This is the Kaveret from the outside. So we said that the Kaveret was a kli, it had the din of a kli, and so depending on whether there was a poteach tefach here or not, and depending on where the Tuma was, that would determine on how much the Tuma spread in the house or did not spread in the house. Let's go back to Mishnah Gimel. So now the Mishnah says, when did we say all this, all that we said is true? Bizman shehi kli mechul chal. And all these terms are terms that are subject of tremendous machlokot, tremendous disputes between the different mefarshim. So we're just going to do it according to the Bartanura. There are a lot of apparent problems with the Bartanura's explanation, but we're going to do the Bartanura explanation because that's the commentary that we're studying. So what the Mishnah says, when is Mishnah Aleph and Mishnah Bet true? When it's a kli mechul chalet. Mechul chalet, the Bartanura says, shedefanot nekuvot b'poteach tefach, that its walls had holes, openings of poteach tefach. Why? Because they would make these hives so that the bees could come in, so there was a tefach opening. Okay, and sometimes sometimes those holes are stopped up with straw, but they're not stopped up so strongly. This is michul chal. It has holes, it has holes in it, but the holes are stopped up. Okay, but says the Mishnah, haita pechuta. If it was pechuta, means if it was damaged, if it was punctured in some way. Upkuka bakash, and then it was stopped up with straw. O afutza, or it was afutza. And what is afutza? Even if its walls are whole, but it's afutza. Ezui afutza. What does it mean afutza? Kol she'en la tefach mimakom echad. There isn't an opening of a tefach. So you just have to see it in the picture, the way the Bartanura explains it. If it was chuta bakash, if the bottom was taken out, but then you put straw instead. So it can no longer hold anything, but now it's covered. Or afutza, right? Or it has, it was broken on the side. Ein dafnotea shleimot. Its walls are incomplete, but it's afutza. Okay, meaning they're stumab makom shemechuchalet, and you patched it where it was supposed to be mechuchalet here. Okay, this is what the Mishnah says. This is the way the Bartanura explains it. You just have to take their word for it. So in that case, the Bartanura says what the Mishnah is trying to tell us is now, in this case, so when it's a mechul chalet, it's a kli, it's a din of a kli. But if it's not mechul chalet, rather if it's pchuta, obviously if it was broken at the bottom, okay, or if it was afutza, nonetheless, the Bartanura says in all these cases, let me find the right Bartanura. Nifcheta v'nitbat la mitorat kli. No longer, it's not a kli anymore, and therefore it's going to have the din not of a kli, but rather it's going to have the din of an ohel. Okay, kevan delav klihu chashuv ki ohel is considered like a structure. Lahatzil tocha v'al gaba. So now we're going to see what happens. So therefore, since now this thing, okay, now here he shows you now it was mechuchalet before, but now since this thing is now no longer a kli, but it's an ohel, so the Mishnah says the following: kezayit min amet natun tachtea. If there's a kezayit min made under it, and it's not a height of a tefach, kenegdo at tehom tameh. So in this case, then only downward is it tameh, but not upward. Because the Tuma is blocked looking upward. We're gonna use the old picture to show you that. Let me see if I can find it. Here we are. So here, if the kezayit of the maid is under it, like here, if the kezayit from the maid is under it, right over there. So in this case, it's only tehom. It goes down. It can only go down because now this kaveret is an oil, so it's blocking anything above. So if you have a kli over here, it's protected. Inside, it's also protected. Al gaba, if there's tuma on top of it, then kenegdo ad rakia tameh, then only up is tameh, but down it's blocked by the kaveret. Babayit, if you have tuma in the house, ein tameh ela babayit, it can't transfer any tuma because this thing, remember, is very low. Let's go back to the first picture. It's very low. So if there's tuma in the house, it doesn't spread to under the ohel. That can't go there because it's very low. On the other hand, betocha. If there's tuma in it, ein tamei ela betocha. Then there's only tuma in it. So now I made this chart. We're starting this crazy chart for these 4 Mishnayot. Oh, here we're talking about pi alachut, the mouth of the kaveret is facing afterwards. Before we learned that before it now it was a mitchalchelet, ve'ein avir tachtea, or mitchalchelet v'yesh. And our Mishnah, this is Mishnah Gimel now that we just learned. It's pchuta. It's a kli. It's a kaveret that was turned, that was destroyed at the bottom. It was damaged at the bottom. And ein avir tachtea tefach. There's no avir under it in tefach. So therefore we said if there's tuma under it, it's only below. Tuma on top of it, only above. If there's tuma in the house, it's only in the house. Tuma in it, then it only stays in it because it itself is considered a kli. Oh, I hope that's clear. It's a very, very complicated Mishnayot, subject of much, much debate. We'll stop here, dedicate our learning to the memory of my father, Harav Simcha ben Yitzchak Kalman. Comments, questions, make it a great day. Or email me, whatever.